Friends, it's summertime, which means summer reading, which for many of us means getting students or our kids to do their required summer reading. So I tell you what, in this video, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks to how we can use Kindles and other e-reading devices to get our kids to do their summer reading without having to fight with them. So with no further ado, let's get into the video. Y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. I am so excited because I know y'all, I'm always excited because I only ever talk about what I want to talk about on this channel. But today we're going to talk about one of my absolute passions, well, two of my absolute passions sort of mushed in together. One of them, of course, is e-readers and specifically Kindles. And the other one is getting kids, students, and specifically reluctant student kids to do their reading. So I tell you what, before we go any further, y'all go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I'm gonna jump us over onto another camera and we're gonna get straight into how we can set up our Kindles to get our kids to not just do their reading, but want to do their reading. All right, I have another Kindle set up for us to use, but y'all, and of course I have a list. I have a list of things that I want to talk about because I could talk all day about Kindles and Kindle tips and tricks, but I am going to limit myself. Y'all, I have bunches and bunches of videos out there with Kindle's tips and tricks and how to do this and how to do that and change this and zhuzh that and turn this up and turn that down. We ain't doing none of that today. I want to specifically talk about what we can do with our Kindles or what we can have our kiddos do with their Kindles to get them to read more comfortably, read more passionately, and quite frankly, just to read. So I'm gonna jump straight into this thing, but before I do that, y'all, Kindle, like people who know their Kindles are gonna notice some things on this Kindle and be like, she is setting that up straight from the jump. That child has bought another new Kindle. I have not, y'all, I swear unto goodness I did not. I just factory reset my Kindle, and when we get to why, which is part of this whole process, I will tell you why I factory reset my Kindle, but I just wanted to get that out there because I didn't want y'all to be like, oh, why she got a new Kindle? Why didn't she show us her new Kindle? Why didn't we unbox a new Kindle? This isn't a new Kindle. This is my pink Kindle that I bought. I mean, it was new, but it's not new now. So I believe this is a Paperwhite, but I think that something just happened to my watch. I don't know what I think my watch is trying to pair with all the things on this counter. I think that everything that we're going to do today, you can do on any Kindle. I don't think any of these are like specific to the Paperwhite. So let's jump straight in and talk about one of the very first things that I think you need to do when you put a Kindle in the hands of a kiddo is find them a font that they like. And here's what you do to do that. If you touch the top of the Kindle, that gives you this top menu. And that very first little thing there is that double A. And that's where essentially that's where you control how everything on the front of the Kindle looks. So the first thing we're going to do is go into font. And in here, you can pick your font family, and mine is already set in Bookerly, praise Jesus. But y'all, everything else about this I hate already. So here's your font family. Now, you can add fonts to your Kindle. Amazon doesn't make it as easy as some other e-readers do, but Bookerly is my favorite. Open Dyslexic, I'm going to talk about students or kiddos, but I hope that if you are a struggling reader, or if somebody who's resistant to reading, like you want to read but you just can't quite make yourself do it, I hope you have found this video as well. And Open Dyslexic, I hope y'all can see this. Open Dyslexic is a font that I have found. I have my light on this thing cranked up. Maybe I should crank it down a little. It might be too high. Open Dyslexic is a font that I have found to be very, very helpful with not just students who are diagnosed with dyslexia, but anybody with like any kind of processing challenge, like visual processing or any of that. Open Dyslexic is super helpful for them. But anyway, that's a font that's in there. In here, you can change your font family. I'm going to go back to Bookerly because anything other than Bookerly is going to be distracting to me and I just can't do it. But you can change the boldness. Now this to me is a biggie. because it doesn't change the size of the font, it just makes the lines heavier. So it makes them more defined and easier to see. So you can change your boldness here. You can also change the size of your font. This is huge. So, I mean, by huge, I literally mean this font is gigantic. So I'm gonna crank it down a bit and crank down my boldness. So there, I think that's kind of nice looking. So there's that. And that again is all in this AA menu up here. We're gonna stay in there. You can go to layout, and y'all, I think this is so big for young readers, especially for struggling readers. You can change lots of things about how the text looks to the reader, because I'm going to talk about this a lot, but I think that Kindles can be super liberating for readers, because when you see a Kindle in a kiddo's hand, and this one, I haven't decorated this one at all, I just have like a clear case on it, but you can like cut out pictures and stick them in the case, right? And then just like put the Kindle inside of it, and you can make it look any kind of way they want. You can change the pictures with the book they're reading, whatever you want to do. But if your kiddo is carrying around a Kindle like this, nobody has any idea what they're reading, what their pages look like, what their text looks like, what the font size looks like. And I think that is just absolutely liberating for kiddos, because sometimes you need to have a page that looks like this, right? Because sometimes you need more negative space than space being used by text, because that's just how your brain works. And when you do that, it makes your books, oh, sorry, there are naughty words. I just opened a random book on my Kindle, but sorry if there are naughty words in here. But anyway, so you can change your margin. You can change your spacing. This is also big. So I've got it the most, like the widest margin, so the text is the most narrow possible. And I've got the spacing set wide. So this can be super helpful for struggling readers, because having a lot of words and a lot of text coming at you all at once can be super intimidating. So you can do this and control the amount of text that your reader sees at a time. And y'all, that can just be super, super liberating, super empowering. Now I do a wide margin with a narrow, because I just like my books to look like this, but look, you do you. Well, more specifically, allow your reader to do them. So margin, spacing, alignment, you can change. In most books, you can change the justification. So, and I know y'all are like, who even cares about that? I promise you somebody's going to care. So you can change whether or not it's right justified with this little bit right here. Your alignment, you can change orientation. So if it's better for your reader to read in landscape than in portrait, you can change, sorry, I just got all out of whack. You can change that here. So all of that is still in this little AA menu. And y'all, this is a game changer right here. I'm gonna go back to font. Wait, hang on, no, I'm not. I'm gonna switch it back to portrait, because that's just the way my brain works. And once you have it set up how your reader likes it, you can go into themes and set you a custom theme. So say little Joey likes it one way and Sally likes it another way, and you are over already fighting with them about who's going to have the Kindle set up what way. And y'all, it's not even July yet. Set custom themes. So you can set Joey's theme to look like this. Let's say this is how little Joey likes it. So you just set Joey to this theme, and you say theme, and you save that. And now you can go back and you can change it. Let's say little Sally likes her some open dyslexic, and she likes a more narrow margin and a wider font. All right, little Sally, honey, baby girl, you do you. So we say save current theme. We save that to Sally. And so now Sally can have her book look the way she wants it. And then when Joey snatches up the Kindle, we can have Joey have his book look the way he wants it. I had a reader comment, I thought this was brilliant. He said he has a theme set. This is not about getting our kids to read, but he said that he has a theme set for when he doesn't have his reading glasses with him. So it's set for like a bigger font that he can go in, find that with just like a couple of clicks, get to it, click it, and then he can read without his reading glasses. I love that. So you can set yourself custom themes, and let me make sure I got everything I wanted in here. So we talked about fonts, size, boldness, we did layouts. Okay, let's go into this more menu. Now, some of these things we're going to talk about in a while, but I want to go ahead and show you where to turn them on and off. The clock at the top of the screen, I have to have a clock on at the top of my screen, or I will like miss appointments because I'm sitting reading a book, or like I'll stay up way too late at night and then I'm grumpy in the morning. So I don't know if y'all can see that well. I will zoom in I will zoom that in post. But so there's a clock at the top of the screen, and you can turn this on right here, show clock while reading. Because if you've got a reader that's like, man, I don't want to, how long do I have to blah, blah, blah. You can either have the clock on if it helps. You can say read until the minutes say 42, then you can have a 5-minute break, and then you will read until 5 after or something. Or if they're going to drive you up a tree doing that, just cut it off. You can also show, there's a bunch of junk you can do here. Go in here and mess around with this. But there's a couple of things in here that you might want to turn off or on. Popular highlights, I don't know, like, oh, here comes the intern. Hang on, y'all. I'll be right back. So, like I said, I just opened this book, so I don't know if there are popular highlights in here or not, but there's one right there. Look, so you see right there, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's underlined. It said 624 highlights. So it'll show you highlights that other people have made in the book. Really, I only keep these on because I'm a horrible person. I keep those on to make fun of things that other people think are important when they're really, really super dumb. That may be, I mean, not that, but popular highlights might be distracting to your reader, so you can turn them off. Right there, you just toggle that right off. Or they might be helpful to your reader to see things that other people find important and focus on those, but y'all, some popular highlights are just plain dumb. So, I mean, you do like, make the call for your reader or for your Kindle if you want them on or off. So there's that. Annotation menu is right here. And again, I'll show you that when we get to it. So that's there. Page turn animations. I love those. It just makes it look a little fancy when you turn the page. Again, I just factory reset my Kindle, and I'll tell you why when we get there. But Wordwise. Right here, you can turn Wordwise on. And we'll get there. Y'all just chill, McGills. But so my Wordwise is now on, and you see it says downloading Wordwise, blah, blah, whatever. I reset my thing. So we'll let it do its thing. One more thing I want to do in there, and that is the very top of your More menu is reading progress. Y'all. Okay. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm a certified special ed teacher, so I'm a reading specialist. Like, that's my jam, is working with struggling readers. So when you talk about, or when we think about readers, that's generally the population that I think of first, is struggling readers. And this little thing at the bottom down here that shows your progress while you're reading, I kind of love that for me, and I hate it for my struggling readers, because I don't know that many things can be more intimidating than being told, like when you're doing something that you struggle at, having somebody say, oh, you're 4.5%, or you're 4% done, you're 3% done, you're 7% done. Quit it. I'm doing the best I can. So if you have that reader, and that's the reader that you're trying to get to read on a Kindle, before you even put it in their precious little hands, go in here to reading progress and just cut that thing off. You can set it to none. You can set it to different things. If you're not dealing with that reader, you can have it on pages in book, time left in the chapter, location in book, or time left in book. I leave mine on which page I'm on in the book. And then so that 4% is how far I am into the book. That's just always on there. And then I'm not really on page 11. We just opened this book. But so there's that. So those are all of the things in the More menu. So that's in the double A right there. We're not going through all the things, but we're not getting all up into how to navigate, but there's chapters. You can just jump around from chapters. There's popular highlights. So remember we were talking about whether or not there are popular highlights in this book? There's that. All right, let's talk. So we've talked about how we can change what the page looks like to make it more comfortable for your reader. Let's talk about things that we can do to help with comprehension. And y'all, this thing's a game changer. Now, I know folks are gnashing their teeth going, I thought we were off the Kindles, or I thought we stopped with Amazon, or isn't Amazon evil, or don't we hate them? Some things have changed. And let me tell you what, even if I was off of Kindles and hated Amazon, I will bend some rules and change some things when it comes to working with struggling readers. Because and I'm not saying this is my thought, but let's say I was like, well, I hate Amazon and I think they're evil and I don't buy from them, except that if they're the ones that make the machine that help struggling readers read better, then I would be weighing what's more important to me, whatever it is that I'm mad about Amazon about or helping struggling readers read. And it's 97% of the time it's going to be helping struggling readers read. So you make the choices for you, but I'm going to go with the Kindle on this because I believe that the Kindle has the most tools and the most modifications that you can make to sort of make it right for your reader at all, but struggling readers. So with that being said, let's get into some comprehension, some things you can do to encourage your reader to use to help them with comprehension, and especially if you got a struggling reader. And number one on that list, well, I have a couple number ones on that list, but one of the things on that list is highlights and notes. So to highlight on a Kindle, and y'all, this is just a plain old black and white Kindle. Of course, there's the Color Soft where you can highlight in color, but just long press and drag your finger to highlight. And this, remember I showed you where you can turn off the highlight menu? That's this thing. So I have it on, so it comes up looking like this. So this comes up when I highlight, and I can make a note, which means this comes up and I can type in whatever I want to add there. Note, exclamation points. And now when I save that, there's a little, I don't know if y'all can see it, but there's a little tiny number 1 footnote at the end of this line. So now I know that there's a note there. And if I go back up to the top menu, see this little notebook paper looking thing? If I click on that, that's going to show me all of my highlights and all of my notes, which is fabulous for a couple of things. Well, hang on, we'll get back to that. Let's get back to that in a second. So we can highlight, we can make notes, and so that's one of my number ones. Here's my other number one. This might be my true number one. And that, I don't know if this book is going to have any long words, not long words, challenging words, but I'm just going to pick a word. Let's look up the word stepmom. So I'm just going to long press on the word and looky here. So it's like, are you trying to highlight that or what are you doing there? You want to highlight, you want to note, or were you trying to look it up? And so it pulls it up in the dictionary, gives me a definition of stepmom, gives me a Wikipedia reference, a translation. So y'all, seriously, if you or your reader is reading a book and they come up with some kind of lederhosen or something, some word that's in another language, and your reader's like, I don't know what that is, they can long press it and they can get a translation right there in the text. So instead of just being like words, 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 and skipping words they don't know, or heaven forbid you expect your reader to come out of the book they're reading and go into a dictionary on the Kindle, or Lord Jesus, no, get up and touch a book and look up a word in the dictionary. That ain't going to happen, but it's right there on the screen. So if you can get them to look up words that they don't know, you just opened up an entire new world to them. So, and y'all, I'm acting a little dramatic about this only because I think it is such a big deal and it is so important. I'm acting all Scarlett O'Hara about it, so that, I don't know why, but I truly am really dramatic about that because I think that can be a game changer, especially for struggling readers. And even if your reader doesn't struggle, if it's just I love this child, but I've taught her for a few years And she's a 16-year-old girl, and that's all you need to know about her. She is a shady Sadie. She can be lazy as anything, but if I can get her to look up a word that she doesn't know, I seriously feel like I have just like kicked the winning field goal in the Super Bowl. Like I have hung the moon. If you can get your reader to do that on a Kindle, you're changing worlds. So anyway, long press to look up words. And so now let's go back to, we can go into this little notebook page. There are highlights. So if you can get your kiddo to highlight things, you can then go back into their highlights and maybe, I don't know, have a conversation with them about what they're reading. What? Or, I know, hang on, not done yet. Or, okay, hang on. So that was that top menu. Now, if we go into the 3 dots over here on the side, which is settings, go into, see right there, vocabulary builder. Guess what that does? Oh, I know it builds vocabularies. Click on vocabulary builder, and that's going to be words. All the words that your kiddo has looked up. So again, factory reset. The only word that I've looked up in this Kindle is stepmom, which is actually kind of probably okay because y'all don't need to be knowing all the words I've looked up. Y'all mind your business. But if you click on the word, it gives you the definition and where it was used in the text. You can say if you've mastered it, y'all, I know the word stepmom. So you can click mastered, or if you want to make flashcards, it'll give you a flashcard. And you can practice the word, and then once you've mastered it, you can mark it as mastered. So, again, y'all, if you can get your kiddos to do these things, it will build their reading skills. So let's get out of this and go back. Let's talk about Wordwise. So, if you can get your little shady Sadie to look up words, God bless you. But, so remember we turned on Wordwise. See down here in the bottom it says Wordwise. I'm going to touch that. And here's my little like Wordwise control menu. I have my Wordwise hidden because I'm not going to lie, Wordwise makes me crazy. Because look, when I tell it to show Wordwise, look what it does to my text. It spreads my words out all over Jesus and back. But look what else it does. Again, I should have opened a harder book. It gives you little hints while you're reading to help you like understand words you might not know. And you can adjust if you want more hints or fewer hints. And again, seriously, ain't nobody looking at the book that you're reading. Like, who's looking over your shoulder trying to see what you're reading? Seriously, you're not all that interesting. So if you have Wordwise turned on and your lines are all sketched out, who cares if it's helping you read more challenging text? And that's really what Wordwise helps you do, is it's a scaffolding tool that helps you read texts that would be too challenging for you to read without that scaffolding, and keeps you from having to even long press and look up words. You just read, don't know that word, look above, oh, it says it right there, keep reading. Love that a little bit. And you can just leave it turned off, just hit hide. And then if you get to a part in the book where you're like, oh. So I'm reading, where is it? I don't want to read it with y'all because, like right now, because I'm afraid I'll turn to a page and something will happen and I'll be like, what just happened? I'll accidentally like spoiler it for myself. But I'm reading Atmosphere right now. And y'all, there's a lot of science in there. So it's not as sciencey as Project Hail Mary, which love, but there were a lot of parts of that where I was like, words, because I just didn't understand it. I should have turned on Wordwise and just used that. So if there are parts of your book that are like a little bit like words, and you don't understand it, turn on Wordwise, or get your, I forget we're talking about, we're not talking about ourselves. If you can get your kiddos, your students, your young learners to turn on Wordwise for just sections of the book where they're struggling, that's going to be, I keep like talking about game changers. We've changed the game like 5 times. So we've changed it from like winner to loser to winner to loser. I don't know where we are right now, but anyway, Wordwise. All right, so those are the biggies. Like I said, I don't want to get deep into the weeds because I've done the weedy videos, and I just want to give y'all like the really good sort of like meaty, not weedy, I want to be meaty. I want to give you the really good like meaty tips that you can really use to help your youngins read better. So I don't even know if this book has X-ray. It does. X-ray. Fabulous feature. I think more and more books are having X-ray nowadays, but so y'all saw where that was. Inside the book, if you go into that top menu, those three little dots, go into X-ray. And this is sort of a context and character tracking feature. So it'll give you a list of the characters in the book and give you, well, it'll show you the places where they're mentioned, but it'll give you just sort of like a little reminder of who they are. So this is really helpful for challenging books or like more confusing books. It'll give you terms that are used in the book, and most of my books don't have images that we need to be keeping up with, but like for textbooks, images, very useful. So X-ray is another one of those really useful features. So if your kiddo is struggling with the book, instead of, Lord have mercy, instead of letting them give up on it, maybe suggest that they try the X-ray feature and see if that'll help them like sort their way through it. All right, one more thing I want to talk about and then we're out. And y'all, this is where things went very, very pear-shaped for me. So immersion reading and text-to-speech are two great features that you can get from Kindle books. Now, immersion reading, you can't do it on like I don't know what they call them, but like the text-based Kindles, like the Kindle, like the Paperwhite, the normal like just words on screens Kindles, but on the, well, let's start with this one. I think it's easier to see on here. This is just a regular old iPad. So on the Kindle app on an iPad, let me adjust your view. If you have the Kindle book and the audio of the book, you can, I am going to do this with Atmosphere, but I'm going to back up a few pages because y'all, seriously, I will not spoiler myself. It'll make me so, so sad. So I have the book open, and this book does have the occasional naughty word, so sorry, boot that ahead of time. I have the Kindle book and the Audible on here. Sorry, boot the glare. So I'm going to, I did this on the, I'm going to show it to you on a Kindle Fire as well, and I guess I downloaded it on the Fire, not on here. Hang on. All right, so lickety-splickety, quick like that. Now I'm going to hit play.
Joan's voice comes
Watch what
through.
it does.
Navigator, copy. The PLPD
Oh, wait, don't listen. In case you want to read the book. Stop.
Vanessa looks around.
Sorry. I don't want to spoil it for y'all in case you want to read the book. So, I just lost my mind a little bit, but if you have the Audible version and the Kindle version, and you download them both on your iPad, iPhone, it probably does it for Android devices too, but I just don't have one here that was made in like the past 15 years, or anyway, in the past 10 years. So I can't test it because mine are so old and decrepit. I don't think they'll download anything, but if you have the Kindle book and the Audible and you play it, the words will highlight as it's reading. And I'm not going to go in and mess with it because, like I said, I didn't say this, but it's a Taylor Jenkins Reid book and it's really good. And I don't want to spoiler it for you. So I'm not going to mess with the speed, but you can adjust the reading speed and it'll highlight the words as it's reading. So that's fantastic for kiddos who are more auditory than visual processors, but you still want them to get that visual input of seeing the text as it's being read. Set them down in front of an iPad, or the Fire will do the same thing. And it's really, it's really the same thing. I don't know which Kindle Fire this is. It's one that was nearby, and no. Do not go to my most recent page read. Go backwards some. But same, I just play. It's talking, you just can't hear it because it's not very loud. Now, hang on, intern's leaving. Y'all pause. Anyway, You can do text to talk, immersion reading. Let me start over because those are two different things. You can do immersion reading on Apple devices, probably on Android devices too, but somebody let us know in the comments. Does it work for Android devices? I know somebody out there's got one. It just ain't me. So Apple devices for sure. Fires for sure. This is a not very recent Kindle Fire. I mean, it's not very old, but it's not very recent. You can also do, and y'all, I am not doing this again, and I will tell you why. But you can do, hang on. If you go into your top menu, go back into settings, go to accessibility, and go to voice view screen reader, you can sync your or pair your Kindle. This is, I think, Paperwhite. Pair your Paperwhite, and I'm pretty sure the other Kindles, like these kind of Kindles, do it as well. But you can pair it with a Bluetooth speaker, and it'll read the words on your screen. So like you can touch them and it'll read it. And you can have it read your text to you, like it'll read your book to you. Now it's not fabulous. It's obviously not like being performed by like Audible or something, but it's definitely passable and you don't have to pay for it. It just reads it to you. But let me tell you what happened. I couldn't get out of it. Like you have to like, if you touch something, it'll read it. So then you double tap it to get it to like if you want to push a button, you double tap. Well, I couldn't figure out how to like double tap to tell it to turn the thing off. So it just kept reading stuff. And then it got stuck in a loop and it was like reading all the things and it would go like into something and out of something and the dogs were whining and the thing was reading and I just couldn't. So after a while, I finally at least got it to like the factory reset button. So I just factory reset the thing and was done with it. So I'm not doing it again to show you how, but that's where you do it. And like if you want to try that, and y'all, it's not a bad option. And if you're in the situation where you need a screen to read to you, you've probably used screen readers before and are probably far more adept at it than I am. I just got frustrated and I just could not. So in order to pair your Kindle with a Bluetooth speaker, you just go into, I think it's just settings, and then there's like a Bluetooth setting. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And then you just, I mean, it paired up lickety split, and then things went south from there. So I know there are a bunch of different ways I could have undone that. I just didn't. So anyway, friends, hey, Editing Day Danielle here, and while I was editing this video, I realized that I forgot to tell you in all of my freaking out over resetting my Kindle and then worrying about spoilering either myself or y'all when I did that immersion reading thing. I forgot to tell you that, so you can do the screen reader thing, or like you can do that with just a regular, like any of the regular Kindles, or on the Kindle Fire, you can do sort of like a screen reader immersion reading kind of hybrid. So I showed you how you could do the immersion reading if you have the Kindle and the Audible versions of the book. Like the Audible will read and then the Kindle will highlight or like light up as it's reading. But you can also do, let me show you. It's called Assistive Reader. I don't know what it used to be called, but the new name of it apparently is Assistive Reader. So it comes up here along the bottom, and then all you do is just hit play.
Agency. You're too inexperienced to understand all this. Please.
And that's the, hang on.
Casually. I'm not even a virgin. Shoulder.
Stop. It's like AI assistive reading, like reading it. Like that's not the Audible version or anything. And I'm sure you can tweak that and change the speed and like change the voice and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just not gonna dig into it right now. And especially after my meltdown over trying to do the screen reader yesterday, I'm just not doing all that. So that's on the Kindle Fire, you can do that. So give that a shot. I think the Kindle is a fabulous option. And again, many of these controls, these settings, these options are available on other e-readers. So if you have an e-reader that's not a Kindle and you want to set it up for your kiddo to read on it or for a struggling reader to read on it, many of these things, you can do many of these things on other e-readers. I just love a Kindle for a young reader. And the thing that I love the most, and the thing that you have across Kindle, Kobo, all designated e-readers, is the distraction-free reading experience. That you can sit them down with one of these and it's not pinging to let them know that somebody sent them something on Snapchat or on Insta, or that so-and-so's on, playing on their game and that they need to go over and check this or that, or they need to check on their egg in this game, or that their, Farmer Bob is stealing their corn, or any of those things. None of that is going to pop up on their Kindle. And there is a browser on Kindle. It's so slow. I don't know that like kids these days would even try it because it's so slow. But you can even set your Kindle so that it won't get on the internet. Like you can put a password on it so that if you're worried about your shady, kiddo trying to get on the interwebs and do things when they're supposed to be reading, just cut off their internet on their Kindle. So those are my tips and tricks for ways to set up your Kindle to make it more conducive for your young reader or for your struggling reader to be comfortable and confident reading on it. Y'all, let us know in the comments, what are your favorite Kindle tips and tricks for reading for yourself and for young readers? Let us know. Now, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, we are most definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos over on Fit Danielle Eats the beginning of every week, with some book videos over here sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.